Ken, you got some PR packages.
Thank you.
How do you keep getting these? Seriously, how do you keep getting PR?
Do you really want to know? Good morning, everyone. My name is Kennedy. If you're watching this video, then you are probably wondering about how to get PR. Or you're already receiving it and you just want to hear more tips. Or you're just here to be supportive, which in that case, hey. My Instagram account is currently at 7,000 followers. I started completely from scratch about a year and a half ago. And I received my first PR package from a brand when I had 600 followers. And I'm here to tell you, yes you, exactly how I did it. And by the end of this video, you will also be able to reach out to brands, regardless of how many followers you have. Before you even begin to reach out for PR, you need to make sure that your Instagram account is up to par. Are you posting frequently or do you just post once a week? You need to make sure that you're active on social media and frequently posting. You need to make sure that you're active on social media while posting story posts as well as in-feed posts. You also need to make sure that you're engaging with your audience. Are you liking and commenting on their stuff as well? Second, what do you post on your Instagram? One thing that a lot of people tend to overlook is the content itself. People become so hyper-focused on the amount of followers they want or the amount of followers they have, and then they completely forget one of the most important parts. What are you creating? If you only post selfies, brands probably aren't going to send you PR. In addition to that, if your photos are blurry or taken in dim lighting, they also probably will not be sending you PR. These are things that brands think of and brands will notice. Natural light is your absolute best friend and it is free. Instagram content creation absolutely does not need to be expensive. I recently bought lighting after being on here for a year and a half. If you need any tips, tricks, inspiration to create certain types of content, please go check out my Instagram. I have a ton of behind the scenes stuff in my reels. Additionally, you need to know what type of content that you want to create. For example, it would be very off-brand of me to get PR for, let's say, a fishing rod or something because I have a beauty account. It's not authentic, it makes zero sense, and your audience will notice and pick up on that. Don't accept PR just for the sake of having stuff. You know what I mean? Make sure you're accepting PR that fits within your brand and fits within your niche. Some other quick tips to show a brand that you are interested in them would include following them, engaging with their content. If you already use their products, post them onto your feed. Leave a good review in your caption section, tag them in it. This way when you do reach out, the brand can go to your account and see that you truly do love their products. Additionally, Instagram recently came out with their recommended posting schedule and it is as followed. Pause if you would like to read it. It is a lot. I personally don't go by that schedule. I typically post once a day. I post reels when I feel like it, and then I try to post at least 7 to 10 stories, but it's more like 5. If I'm being honest. So what is PR? PR actually stands for public relations. It's become kind of a slang term in the influencer, content creator, social media space. For the purpose of today's video, when I say PR, I'm referring to when a brand or an agency sends you product with or without any obligation to post. This could range from beauty, shoes, food, fitness stuff. It really just depends on what your content is centered around. Another thing to note is that PR also can range varying in price. I've received PR that has been like $10. I've also received PR that has been $800, so it really just does depend. Despite what people say, you actually do not need a huge following in order to receive PR. For some reason, everyone assumes that you need 10,000 followers, and that is simply not true. The first time I ever received PR from a brand, I had 600 followers, just on my Instagram, just Instagram. I wasn't promoting any other social media channel at the time. And from my account only having 600 followers to getting to 1,000 followers, I think I worked with 4 or 5 brands in between that. Brands have definitely shifted their marketing in the past few years, and this will only increase in 2021. They want to work with smaller creators as opposed to large ones. And I'm talking fairly big brands. One of the reasons being that they won't have to pay a content creator who only has 1,000 followers as opposed to $400,000 if they pay that creator at all. Additionally, smaller creators typically have a much higher engagement rate than larger ones. And what's an engagement rate? An engagement rate is a formula that measures the amount of interaction your social media channels are getting. So think likes, comments, shares, and any other engagement that your social media would receive. You can check your engagement rate a few different ways. I personally just use Social Blade. Super simple, super easy. Type it into your browser. There you go. And it's free. So if you want to start receiving PR, now really is the perfect time to do so. And I don't think you should let a small following deter you from doing so. I see people get really discouraged about only having a few hundred followers, and I completely understand that, but at the same time, look at it this way. Let's say only 50 people liked your photo. Imagine if 50 people came into your house, like after the pandemic. That's a lot of people. Now that you know what PR is and that you can essentially have any size following to receive PR, how do you go about reaching out? 3 main ways that you can receive PR, especially when you are starting out. The first one is apps. One I'm sure everybody has heard about is Influencer. Essentially, Influencer is an app that lets you review products. They have food, hair, makeup, skincare, yada yada. They're easy to sign up, you don't need a huge number of followers. Essentially, Influencer will send you an email and you can opt in or opt out for campaigns called a Vox box, where you just get like a box of PR. I personally have not used it in a very, very long time, but I think when you're first starting out, it's a good measure to just kind of dip your toe into like the whole PR world. Octoly. For some reason, I thought that you needed 10,000 followers in order to join Octoly, and that is simply not true. I joined when I had like 1,200 followers. You do have to apply and you do have to be approved as well, but if you're posting the content that brands want to see, you'll pretty much be accepted. Out of all of the apps, I definitely like Octoly the most. With Octoly, you get a product in exchange for an Instagram post or a review on Sephora, mostly skincare, makeup, and hair care. They have a lot of fun brands like Amika, Pharmacy Beauty, Owasu, First Aid Beauty, Codally, things like that. They give you 5 or 6 credits, and essentially you can exchange those in and out for different products. So like your credits are money pretty much, and you can shop in the store. Join Palm. I've really been loving Join Palm lately. I signed up for it in the summer, I'm pretty sure. Maybe the fall, I can't remember. They have things like skincare, perfume, CBD, stuff like that. Support a lot of BIPOC businesses, small businesses, as well as women-owned businesses, so we love to see that and we love to support it. They also recently started offering a lot of paid collaborations as well, which I think is awesome. The second thing is PR agencies. These are a little bit trickier to navigate, and to be fully transparent with you, I have never reached out to a PR agency first. They've always found me. I actually do really like working with agencies. Essentially, when you work with an agency, they're the ones that connect you to the brand and are kind of the middleman. Sometimes they're paid, sometimes they're not. It really just depends on the brand as well as the agency. I do like working with agencies because you start to work with different brands within that agency, so you get a lot more work with them. But you don't really build a connection with the brands themselves, since you aren't the one actually doing the work behind the scenes and stuff like that. Which leads me to my next way in receiving PR. Reaching out to the brands directly. If you know how to pitch and what to say, I highly recommend this over absolutely everything else. Establishing brand connections are so important in this industry. While there are an abundance of brands out there, there is also an abundance of creators. You have to put yourself out there and start forming connections and relationships with these brands. There's brands that I have made strong connections with when I had like 400 or 500 followers that I'm now getting paid opportunities with, because I still kept that level of professionalism and creativity and organization, and I'm constantly engaging and posting their stuff and sharing the brand with other people and things like that. So how do you reach out? Everybody says reach out via email, but I personally always would recommend DM if you are starting out. When you email a brand, it can be very, very hard to find the correct contact. A lot of brands have a generic customer service email. You do not want your pitch to get stuck between a missing package and an inquiry about how much something costs. I know that there are ways to figure out specific emails, but I personally just like to go by DM so the brand knows who I am and what I'm reaching out for. If a brand does not want to talk to you via DM, they will also always send you the exact person's name and exact contact to email and get in touch with. I don't interact with brands via DM anymore, just because I have a little bit more opportunities and things like that, and I can organize my emails and I can't organize my DMs, and it kind of overwhelms me at times. So you know how to reach out. Now what do you say? What's your pitch? Here's an example of what not to do. Hi, my name is whatever your name is, and I love your brand. I know that I'm a smaller creator, but I would love to receive PR from you to post to my social media channels. Signed, whatever it is your name is. Signed, whatever your name is. Please don't ever reach out to a brand like that. First, it's not professional. Second, it does not tell the brand anything about you or your account. You've also already knocked yourself down a peg by saying that you're a smaller creator. The size of your following does not matter. What matters is the content that you can create and produce. You're just knocking yourself down a peg by belittling yourself and saying, I know that I'm a smaller creator. Like, just don't say that. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Be confident. If you're at the point where you want to reach out to brands, or you're at the point where you're watching this video, then I'm sure your content is great, okay? Be confident. You got it. I fully believe in you. The last thing to note would be that you didn't actually provide any type of service. What do you do? Why should they work with you? Why should they send you PR? You brought nothing to the table. If you're good at video content, say that. If you do really thorough reviews, say that. If you're good at Photoshop, say that. Come up with a creative concept using these products. Make sure that you stand out to the brands. So do not do anything that you saw in the last pitch, please. Now here's what you should do. Link your social media, especially if you are sending an email. Express why you want to work with them. Saying that you love their brand is not enough. I'm sure everybody that reaches out to them loves their brand, because why would they reach out if they didn't love their brand? Find that connection that makes them want to work with you. Make sure that you keep all of this information concise and fairly short. Remember these 3 things. Who are you? How do you fit? And what value do you bring? Here's another example of a pitch that you should be using. Hi, insert brand or contact name. My name is whatever your name is, and I run the Instagram account, whatever your Instagram account name is. I have an engagement rate of, enter the percent, and I love sharing your, add additional details. Add additional details, skincare products with my audience of, insert following people. Insert something that connects you or resonates with the brand. Example, I've been using your brand for 2 years now. and it has done wonders for my skin. I especially love your, insert specific product. Sensitive skin is a hot topic in our community, and I believe your brand's ingredient transparency list will resonate with my audience greatly. Thank you for your time, and I hope to hear back from you soon. Signed, your name. Modify it to your specific needs. It's just to help you kind of get the basics across and learn how to kind of word things. Honestly, you may be told no more than once. That's just part of the industry. Additionally, no doesn't really mean no forever. I've been told no by brands when I reached out for PR a year ago that have now reached back out to me for paid opportunities. So it really just does depend. Final thoughts. There are a lot of us. And while I fully believe there is more than enough room for everybody at the table to eat, if you want to work with a specific brand, you cannot just wait around and expect it to fall into your lap. You need to put your best foot forward, and you need to pitch. You may be the perfect fit. You might be exactly what the brand is looking for, but if they can't find you, they can't work with you. The tacky factor. A lot of people in the beauty community specifically will shame and shade others for reaching out for PR when they also did it when they first started out. But that's none of my business. First, don't shame anybody for anything, because that is tacky. I fully believe in doing whatever you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable reaching out to brands, do it. If you're not, don't. But don't let anybody ever shame you for it. A lot of us have reached out to brands before. I also think it's important to note the privilege that people have when they say things like that. When I first started my skincare account, I was not financially in a place where I could just buy products left and right to review on my account. They're incredibly expensive, and they really do add up. I was not someone that had a bunch of skincare or makeup for that matter when I first started, so receiving PR pretty much allowed me to run my account. A lot of other creators are also in that same boat, and I don't think it's okay for people to shame others over something that's so normalized in the beauty industry. That's everything. If you have any specific or additional questions, please leave them down in the comments below. I hope that these tips have helped, and I hope that you feel a little bit more confident walking away from this video. I hope that every single one of you gets to work with your absolute dream brand and you feel confident in pitching. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.